Hey everyone, it's Twitch65 again, and today is part 3 of our ATST diorama build. Today, we look at how to weather the vehicle. In part 1, we built the walker, and today we're going to weather the model in preparation for putting it into our indoor diorama. Off camera, I primed it a light gray, kind of knocked the shine off the plastic parts of the walker, and to give some tooth for the weathering paints and powders that are coming later. Especially with all these large flat surfaces, we'll need something that they can bite into. I started the overall weathering process by using an oil dot process, using white, gray, and black oil paints. I take a large flat brush dampened with some odorless thinner and work the dots into a blended streak in a downward motion. I refine the streaks using a smaller and softer flat brush, again dampened with odorless thinner to keep the paints moving, and this helps to soften the oil paint and make it more of a filter to change the look from shiny new to weathered and battlefield and just kind of sun faded. I work on small sections at a time, mostly to keep from getting oil paints on my hands. I use basic oil paints from a sample set I purchased at a local craft shop. As always, when I work with oils, I put the paints onto a paper towel or a piece of cardboard straight from the tube for a few minutes. This allows the excess oils in the paint to be absorbed into paper and I get a concentration of pigments. Parts that have a lot of detail can grab extra paint and need a little more TLC. I go back over these surfaces with a thinner dampened cotton swab to remove the surface paint and leave the filtering material in the recesses, much like using a wash or a panel liner on a smaller model. After giving the oil paints a couple of days to dry, really these paints could take weeks to dry, I go back to my basic craft store box of pastels and start grinding my own weathering powders. For this project, I use lots of white powder. Again, I'm trying to give that walker a sun-faded look. I use a large, dry brush to liberally apply the powder all over the kit. And then I come back with a fan brush to remove most of the excess and just leave that gritty, faded, textured look. For the lower parts of the legs, I did come back in with greens and browns to help give the walker more of a dirty lower section, like it's been kicking up dust and debris on the surface of Endor for a little while. Lastly, after we have the look that we want with the powders, we need to come back and fix them in place with some matte varnish. I used my airbrush set on a really low PSI setting, but you could do the same with a spray can using short bursts and spraying from a long distance to keep from pushing the powders off all the flat surfaces. So that's it for weathering this vehicle. It's a simple filter with oil paints, followed by some fading and texture from pastel powders. I hope you enjoyed this video, and if you did, please consider a like and a subscribe. Keep an eye out for part 4, where we build the diorama base and pull the whole thing together.